Hello, I'm Chris Hartwell, and welcome to The Heartbeat, the place where I talk about just a few of the things that make this little guy tick. Today, I'm going to be talking about Disney's Zootopia. Join me, won't you? In this film, we meet Judy Hopps, who is determined to leave the farm she grew up on and head to the metropolis, Zootopia, where she will become the first bunny police officer. Even in success, though, life isn't easy, as she is soon forced to partner with the sly fox, Nick Wilde, to solve a missing animals case, as well as save the rest of the mammals in her beloved city from a terrifying reversion to their more primal instincts. Now, I gotta say, going into this film, I was cautiously optimistic, and a large part of that came from just the marketing. I mean, a lot of it felt oddly and unnecessarily explanatory. The whole, this is a world where animals talk and wear clothes. I mean, I'm pretty sure that most of my generation is at least aware of Disney's Robin Hood or American Tail and Feifel Goes West. And for everyone else, especially children, I just could really not imagine anyone saying, ooh, that film looks fun, but I don't want to see it, because I don't understand why there aren't any humans. More than that, though, even as I found Disney's Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6, and Bolt all very cute and enjoyable films, I did find on each of them that the studio failed to find a certain level of narrative focus or demonstrate a willingness just to tell a simple story simply. And by contrast, though I did have some minor quibbles with this ending, I did very much appreciate the confident simplicity and the contented focus on display in Disney Pixar's The Good Dinosaur. Though, I guess if I've learned anything from this experience, I really do need to stop being so concerned by Disney's often lackluster marketing. See nearly every Pixar film, or something like John Carter, and just go in open-minded, because guys, I love this film. First off, it totally overcame its gimmick. That gimmick being that animals talk and dress like humans, but still possess a lot of the quirks that make them uniquely animal. A lesser film would have gotten totally bogged down in all the cutesy reinterpretations or renamings of every product, place, and activity in this world. Oh, it's not a freeway, it's a furway, or it's not an iPod, it's an iPaw. And even when we did see certain elements, like a bunny's iPod having a half-bitten carrot on it versus a half-bitten apple, those things were really used as peripheral details to fill out the world versus a focused on recurring gag. And speaking of those details, on this film, yet again, Disney Animation has just proven their complete unwillingness to skimp on anything. The number of extremely creative, fleshed out environments, the level of polish and artistic intention on all of the texturing, lighting, and atmosphere, and for my money, the best character animation that any studio has to offer, were all just joyous treats for the senses. And going back to some of the story complaints that I've had with other recent Disney animated features, I was just so pleased with how engaged I was with this film the whole way through. Even as it has nearly a 2-hour running time, I found like it was layered enough throughout that it never dragged, which was made all the more impressive as I did see some of the twists and turns coming from a ways off. And another huge part of my enjoyment of this gleeful ride has to just be the characters as well. And beyond just the fact that they had some really wonderfully realized character arcs, which in the case of Judy Hopps really did touch me kind of in a personal way, as her growth really mirrored my own post-high school. The voice acting was just so spot on. Jason Bateman especially was pitch perfect as this sly but cynical con man, conveying an energy that was so different from the bumbling but endearing character that we'd gotten to know on Arrested Development. But even more than that, what really made these characters wonderful for me was just the dynamic between them, which does make it interesting to note that that wasn't always the case on this story, because after 2 years of working on this, director Byron, who was originally inspired by Disney's Robin Hood, had constructed a film with a conning fox as its lead character. But even after all of that work, and only a year until this film's release, Disney was willing to pump the brakes and decide that it would actually better serve this story were we to enter it through the wide, optimistic eyes of Judy Hopps. And I just so appreciate that about both Disney and Pixar, and just their willingness to reimagine and switch things up even at the 11th hour. And this has happened on films like Toy Story, The Good Dinosaur, Tangled, and Frozen. And being that Howard also directed the wonderfully delightful Disney film Tangled, it's no surprise that the dynamic between the innocent, naive Rapunzel and the more world-weary Flynn Rider was very similar to the one found between Judy and Nick. And not only did those characters' differences help to bring out the best and worst in the other, they also lent this kids' film something else, which was just an impressive level of depth and balance, because so often on Disney films, well, so often on so many films, there is this unhelpful to dangerous oversimplified message about life. And though Zootopia is not perfect in that regard, and we'll discuss that a bit more in a moment, I will say, by and large, bravo Disney for handling the themes as well as you did. Which is good, because as it turns out, this whole film is really built around the themes of social justice, racism, and equality. Furthermore, I really appreciated the attempt to provide some nuance to the often used message, if you set your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And there were even some fun jabs made at the studio's own Frozen. And speaking of the humor in this piece, the comedy throughout really did work well for me. I particularly enjoyed the Godfather sequence that was teased at in the marketing. And that was all the more awesome because both that and the sloth scene, though I'd seen a lot of them in the trailers, still made me laugh when I saw them in context. And I do not want to spoil it, but let me just say there is a reference to one of my very favorite television shows in this film that was just phenomenal. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Also, I wanted to take a second and say there were limits to the animal metaphor on Zootopia and a certain level of shallowness in the idea that all it really took was a Shakira pop song, as catchy as it was, and yes, I have listened to it one too many times already, to really unite that world in love and equality. Though I did find it interesting, as unintentional as I'm sure it was, that the filmmakers' kind of inability to genuinely provide an answer to the inescapably broken and divided real-life animal kingdom, which would take far more than goodwill or even training to be transformed at its core, does in a way kind of mirror our own human condition as well. Now, with all of that said, I did not walk into this film, nor walk out, expecting it to provide the meaning to life, nor provide answers to all its problems. And there is just no way that any child will actually look closely enough at the themes to perceive its cracks. This is a thoroughly enjoyable film with really a wonderful story, very fun characters, beautiful visuals, flawless animation, and children and adults will thoroughly enjoy it. And for all those reasons, I will give Zootopia a 4 out of 5. I would still love to know what you guys thought, though. Comment below. Did you love the film? Did you hate it? What worked for you? What didn't? How does this film stack up against Disney's other recent CG films for you? Comment below and let me know. Also, please do subscribe. I'm going to continue to review films and television on this channel, and I would love for you to stay up to date on all of those things. But for now, I'm Chris Hartwell. This is The Heartbeat. Thank you for joining me.